Rafi neatly folded the wrapper around his half-eaten burger, picked up his drink, and strode out of the restaurant. Azizu jumped up to follow him, but Alvin held him back. Mars chewed the straw, dropped her phone into her bag, and leapt up. She raced after Rafi. By the time she reached the door, he was gone. She stepped into the street, wondering what to do. She didn't want to go back inside and face her friends. She wasn't in the mood to answer all their questions. She started walking, her mind in turmoil, the world passing by in a blur around her. Why did Edmund keep calling her? She'd already told him she was Rafi's girlfriend, and why didn't Rafi trust her? Maybe Cinchita was right. Boys were simply too much trouble. She was still lost in thought when somebody brushed against her. "Excuse me," asked a girl's voice. "Can you help me? I'm afraid I'm lost." Mars looked around, her temper simmering. The last thing she wanted to do was answer the stranger's dumb questions. It took a few moments before Mars recognized the girl who was standing behind her. She took a step back, her heart pounding. "Ty," she gasped. The snake's daughter was her own age, and even more beautiful than she remembered. Ty was wearing a little black dress that Mars knew cost a small fortune. "Mars Wong?" the girl asked, a subtle smile playing on her face. "I've heard all about you. We have to talk." Mars laughed at her and moved further away. "Well, I don't want to talk to you." But Ty edged closer. "You don't have a choice." Her purse was open. Mars could see a small gun nestled inside. "I think I can help you." "Why should I believe you?" demanded Mars hotly. "I can't think of a single reason," Ty smiled. "But you are going to have to trust me if you want to see Rafi again." Alarm screamed through Mars' body. "What have you done with him?" she demanded. "I'm trying to save his life and yours," snapped Ty. "So don't give me any trouble. I think we are being watched." Ty indicated the alley behind them. "There's a car waiting inside for us. Just walk down and get in the back. There are one or two things I want to tell you." Mars turned hesitantly and moved into the gloomy lane. Behind her, she heard Ty's high heels echoing crisply. Halfway along, in the deepest shadow, a black car was parked with the engine idling. "I don't know what Alvin Soul has done to my father," Ty said cautiously, "but he's gone crazy. He's given orders for you and your friends to be killed." "You haven't hurt Rafi, have you?" Mars grilled in panic. She began to swing around when Ty's gun pressed into the small of her back. "Keep walking and be quiet." Then Ty gave a short laugh. "I'm surprised you even care anymore. I've been watching you. I thought you and Rafi were crawling." "How dare you?" cried Mars. "He's quite a cute boy," Ty taunted. "Maybe I could take him off your hands." "You wouldn't know how," Mars snapped back. "You didn't do so well with Evan." Immediately, she bit her lip. Ty's gun jabbed her in the ribs with a quick, vicious movement. "Quiet," fled Ty. Fling opened the car door. "Get in." When Mars climbed into the back seat, a man in a starting mask seized her. He covered her eyes with a blindfold. Ty settled herself beside her and slammed the door. "Where are you taking me?" Mars shrieked. "Where's Rafi?" But there was no reply. The car sped off and the rest of the journey was spent in silence. Alvin's phone rang. It was Sergeant Sue. Alvin had never heard him so angry. "I thought I told you to wait for my man. I've been trying to reach you for the last 2 hours. Where have you been?" Alvin was perched on the edge of his seat. He pushed the remains of his brother aside. "Well, it's like this, Sergeant Sue," he began to explain. "We had to hand in our mobile phones. That's why we didn't hear your call. It was some kind of security regulations." "Alvin," interrupted Sergeant Sue, "where are you now?" "In a burger restaurant just outside the university." Alvin told him while his friends watched anxiously. "Is everybody with you?" the sergeant demanded. "Yes." Then he checked himself. "Oh, actually, Rafi left just a few minutes ago and Mars followed him." "I want you to call them now," Sergeant Sue shouted down the line. "Tell them to return to the restaurant immediately. I want you to stay together and wait for me. You've no idea of the danger you're in, is that clear?" Before Alvin could say anything, Sergeant Sue cut the call. Alvin punched in Rafi's number. No response. He punched in Mars' number. No reply. He set down his phone and looked at his friends. "I think we're really in trouble this time." When the car had stopped and her blindfold was removed, Mars discovered they were underground. A steep, gloomy ramp had brought them down to a deserted loading dock. It looked abandoned. Rubbish and debris were strewn everywhere. The air was thick with dust and laden with damp. Ty led the way across the stained concrete and up 3 flights of stairs. "This warehouse hasn't been used for years," she confided. "Nobody ever comes here." The man installing Mars unbolted a heavy door and pushed it open. A bare bulb in the ceiling cast a dim light over the windowless room. Mars gave a startled cry when she saw a shape of a body stretched out on the floor. "Rafi," she ran forward. As she did, the heavy door crashed shut behind her and the bolt slid into place. Ty's laugh faded into silence. Sergeant Sue listened while Alvin told him about the chase. Wayland noticed how the sergeant's jaw tightened. "Where is Professor Jung now?" the sergeant asked. "We don't know," Alvin shrugged, "and if Professor Tam knows, he didn't tell us." "Why didn't you share your information with us earlier?" Sergeant Sue demanded, forcing back his anger. He respected Alvin's ability as a detective. As smart as his father, he thought, remembering how he and Alvin's father had worked together as a team before his friend had died. "And your theory about the snake being involved is correct. That's why I've been trying to call you. The bullets fired at you this morning came from a gun owned by one of the snake's associates. It's been used in quite a few armed robberies." Alvin grinned triumphantly. He and Azizu high-fived each other. Sergeant Sue slammed his fist on the table. While he admired Alvin's talent, the boy's independent streak drove him crazy. "I have a good mind to lock you all up, for your own safety." Sinchita felt her inside turn over. If she were put in jail, her mother would never forgive her. "You can't do that," Azizu protested. "Don't be too sure," glowered Sergeant Sue. "We call it protective custody." He leaned forward urgently. "Now, where have Rafi and Mars gone? If the snakes got them, Alvin, I'll hold you personally responsible. And Alvin knew the sergeant wasn't joking. Whelan clutched his hand. Ma searched her purse. Ty had taken her mobile phone, but the bottle of mineral water was still inside. She unscrewed the tap and held the bottle to Rafi's lips. He swallowed and his eyes flitted open. For a few moments he was too dazed to speak. "What hit me?" he moaned. Then he frowned. "It wasn't you, was it?" "Rafi, I'd never hit you," swore Mas, gripping his hands. "We've been kidnapped by Tai, the snake's daughter." Rafi eased himself into a sitting position. "All I can remember is leaving the restaurant," he told her. "Something hit me from behind and the next thing I knew somebody had put a hood over my head. Then I passed out." He gazed around the room. "Where are we?" "An old warehouse," said Mas. It was so weird, Rafi. Tai said the snake has ordered us to be killed, but she said she wanted to save our lives. That's why she brought us here." "Why would she want to do that?" Rafi speculated. "She's loyal to her father, isn't she?" An uneasy silence fell between them. Then Rafi shot Mas a sidelong glance and touched her hand. "I'm sorry I was so mean to you," he began, and then hesitated. "You don't really want to go back to Edmund, do you?" Mas laughed. "He was pestering me. I didn't know how to get rid of him." "Leave him to me," said Rafi grimly. "I'll make sure he gets the message." "Good," Mas touches his cheek. "I never want to see him again." A footfall beyond the door brought them to their feet. "I think they're coming back," whispered Mas in alarm. The bolt rattled. Rafi put a finger to his lips and slipped noiselessly across into the shadow beside the door. Slowly it opened.